Morning and welcome to of the Simply Race British Championships, coming to you this week from Oulton Park. Our usual format. We'll have 3 touring car races left on this afternoon. So the Clio Cup races will be coming up next. Just change my mic. The Clio Cup race will be coming up next, and we've got Luke Bennett, who's been the star of that championship in the last couple of rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see if the guys behind, so we've got Ed Sibbald and Christian Kelly in second, third of the championship, see if they can get on top of Luke Bennett and actually slow down his domination of this championship so far. And also, of course, Ben Brown, who won did a double at Brands Hatch in the first round of the season. It'll be interesting to see if he can regain some of his form. So the drivers will just be getting ready in the next few minutes. So we should be going live shortly for race 1, and we'll join it then.
One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Weird. Very strange. Maybe he's got some interference or something out there. So, drivers then getting ready for this opening race of the day around this Oulton Park circuit, and they'll just be getting off on their warm-up lap shortly, and they will run you through the grid order. Basically, a lot of regular drivers in this championship, so we've got all the regulars who've been doing most of the season so far. We've got, I think, just a few sort of wildcard entries. We've got Scott Thompson, Dan Cook and Ryan Purvis, who will be taking part in their first ever race in the Clio Cup Championship. So as they head off on the warm-up lap then, we've got Christian Kelly is going to start this one from pole position, just in front of John Curry. Luke Bennett, our championship leader, will start third. Sean King had a good qualifying session, he's fourth. Scott Thompson, making his debut in the series, is going to be fifth, so it's good effort from him. Ben Brown, who won the both opening rounds of the championship at Brands Hatch, will start sixth. Ben Bennyworth will be seventh. Ed Sibbald, who's again another man who's up there in the championship, he's actually in second position in the championship. He's actually down in eighth on the grid for this one. Michael Boulding will start ninth. Dan Cook, one of our newcomers, will be 10th. Colin Talbot 11th. Rob Soughton 12th. Richard Cleaver 13th. And Ryan Purves in 14th position on the grid. So it'll be interesting to see if the likes of Christian Kelly, Ben Brown and Ed Sibbald can make the best of this race and see if they can get a bit of a points advantage over Luke Bennett, who in certainly recent rounds has really got himself into a fairly strong position in the championship.
I think one thing will be really interesting to see, which we saw in qualifying, is a lot of drivers exploiting the track limits at turn one. A lot of lap times were actually deleted by race control because drivers were putting all four wheels off onto the runoff of the outside of turn one, which is Old Hall Corner. It's a very high-speed corner, and it is quite risky to do that anyway, because if you run too wide, you're going to run onto the grass and spin off. It'll be interesting to see if any drivers risk going two wheels off there through the race, but I think Mike will be fully on top of that at race control and be ready to dish out penalties. But let's get ready for the start. Yep,
so we'll get notification if anyone does get a penalty, but they're lining up on the grid now for this opening race. Christian Kelly there in the black, white and yellow car, with John Curry in the predominantly white and orange Clio alongside him. And then Luke Bennett, our championship leader, there third in the yellow and black. So the drivers will be waiting for the lights. And they're away, and it looks like a fantastic start by Kelly. He's got the jump on everybody there. He's already several car lengths ahead as they head into Old Hall Corner for the first time. There's definitely been some contact in the background. We'll have to catch up with that shortly. John Curry is there in second place. There's Luke Bennett in third. He looks like he's got Sean King very close behind him as they head down Cascades. Michael Boulding looks like he's picked up a couple of spots. He's up into seventh place at the moment. And so the 16-lap race then round this Oulton Park circuit always produces some exciting racing, this track. And here we go into Shellows. This is a replay of the start then. It looks like someone's come across the front. That's one of our new drivers there, possibly Dan Cook, I think. Anyway.
I believe it's Scott Thompson was in the blue Clio, and that's Purves in the green Clio.
Right, okay, Ryan Purves, yep. It's come across the front, bit of an unfortunate accident there. I think it was just unintentional. So back with the leaders now. Kelly, who made a tremendous start, still in the lead, although it looks like Curry has closed the gap a little bit, and also Bennett is there as well. There's Sean King in fourth, Scott Thompson fifth, Ben Brown running sixth at the moment. So Luke Bennett we're looking at the moment. He's running in third place. There's John Curry. Looks like he's closing the gap a little bit to Christian Kelly on this opening lap as they head down to this final corner of the lap, Lodge Corner. Out of here, up Deer Leap, and then to cross the start-finish line for the first time and begin lap two. And Kelly has done the fastest lap, you can see in the corner of your screen there, but it does look like John Curry has got quite good pace, and he's definitely keeping with him. Kelly's gone very wide, knocks her on the bollards over at Old Hall Corner there. And Curry's even looking around. He's having a little look to see if he might be able to effect a pass somewhere down here as they head down Cascades again. Luke Bennett there, third, just keeping a watching brief on what's going on.
I think Luke's just going to play the smart game here and just watch these two battle and overheat their tyres, as there's a bit of contact into Island Bend there as they come out on the exit. I think Luke will hold station for now. He usually tends to leave his charge till later in the race. He looks after his tyres a little better than the rest of the field and then moves his way through then. But at the moment, it actually looks like Curry's holding him up a little bit, so he might just have to get past him, because otherwise Kelly's just going to disappear down the road.
Yeah, definitely Luke Bennett. We have seen this in previous races where he looks after the tyres and he's very quick at the end of the race. So it'd be interesting to see what tactics he employs here, because he's all over the back of John Curry as they head down into...
and in the picture you might have just seen Mall Pass being fully wiped out of the chicane there, so definitely something for race control to look at.
Yes, definitely. Race control will be keeping a close eye on that, I'm sure. And then, so John Curry there still holding second place from Luke Bennett as they cross the start-finish line for the to start lap 3. So Kelly's got away a little bit. He's regrouped and he's pulled a few car lengths. And this sort of front four have broken away a little bit. So you've got Kelly, Curry, Bennett and King. And a bit of more of a gap back to Bennyworth, who's now in 5th place. So Ben Brown's dropped back a little bit. And also Michael Boulding seems to have fallen down the order a bit. So there are definitely some changes going up and down the field at the moment. But we're with the leaders here. John Curry still there in second. He's got Luke Bennett very close behind as they go around the Shell Oils hairpin. So will Luke Bennett think he needs to make a move early in this race, or is he going to just sit and wait? I think it will depend on the pace of John Curry, how close Curry can stay to Christian Kelly in the lead. I think if he feels that Kelly's going to get away, then we might see Luke Bennett in more of a hurry to make a move on John Curry and get into that second place just to make sure that he keeps Kelly in sight.
So interestingly, we have Sibbald and Mallpass in the pits, and that can only be for a 10-second stop-go penalty. Mike, in the race briefing today, did say his minimum penalty for drivers will be a 10-second stop-go. Really cutting down on some of the over-aggressive driving that we've been seeing in some previous rounds. So hopefully these drivers will have learned their lesson from that.
Yes, it's a real bad news for Ed Sibbald, that is. He's well up there in the championship, but at the moment, as a result of that penalty, he's down in 13th place in this opening race. And here we've got Luke Bennett. He's trying to look up the inside into Old Hall Corner. He's all over the back of John Curry as they head into this on lap 4. But yeah, Sibbald will be really hoping he can make a bit of a fight back from that position he's in at the moment, trying to minimise the damage. Bennett up the inside into Cascades, not quite. It was not really a normal passing place, I wouldn't say, on this circuit, but he thought he could do it there. And now they head round Island Bend, up to Shell Oil's hairpin. Maybe he can do him into here. Curry very late on the brakes there. You can see how much he caught Kelly in front of him. So, yeah, Curry defending well at the moment, but it does look like Luke Bennett is quite keen to get past early in this race.
Extremely. He's doing a lot of great distraction techniques through the corners to really try and make Curry look in his mirrors instead of the road in front of him. Some really smart driving from Luke here. Considering how new he is to sim racing, it's really fantastic to see that he's got that great racecraft. We've also got Talbot and Ben Brown having a fantastic battle in the bottom right corner of your screen. We'll keep an eye on that as well as the main racing, but obviously the focus has to be on the front at the moment, with these top three really closing in at the moment.
Yeah, and Sean King there sort of hanging on with this pace just about in 4th position as well. But yeah, in the corner of the screen, that's Colin Talbot in the sort of white and red flashes, and then Ben Brown with the green and blue Clio. They're also having a great battle, so great racing up and down the field at the moment, but we'll keep focusing on this front group just to see. They've very much maintained the order from the start so far, so we haven't actually seen an overtake during the race, but it definitely has the feel of a race that is about to kick off at some point. And Sean King there, he's actually, I think, if anything, getting closer to the back of this front 3. So maybe they are all just having a bit of a look at each other, these front 3, and they're not going the ultimate pace at the moment, but I would think very much tyre conservation is in their minds. 16-lap race here. And we have seen in previous rounds that tyre usage can be critical in deciding the outcome at the end of the race. And some drivers definitely have got their heads around that more than the others. So I would think Christian Kelly's probably just going as fast as he thinks he needs to at the moment.
Definitely, he's definitely backing the pack up a little bit at the moment, which is going to give him a bit of unnecessary stress. Now we've got Ben Brown on the outside of Colin Talbot going through into the Cascades, and Colin left him no great amount of room, but does shut the door on him. Great racing there from the two of those.
That was an ambitious move around the outside of Cascades.
It was ambitious. If he would have pulled that off, I would have been blown away by that. But looking back at the top three, now Sean's really starting to bring the gap down. Looking at the fastest laps, Bennett is the fastest in the group of these guys by quite a way. There's about 3/10 almost in there, which is really interesting to see. Is he going to kill his tyres, though, by going at that pace? A bit of contact there with Curry. I think he should have pulled out a bit earlier there.
Yeah, Bennett is really swarming around the back of John Curry as they head into Old Hall Corner. He's had a look. But, yeah, I think you're right. Christian Kelly does seem to be almost backing them up, whether it's intentional or not. They've all bunched up, and Sean King is right on the back of Luke Bennett now as they head down Cascades.
So yeah, great to see Sean back in this championship as well, by the way, even if it is just a debutise again for this round, but fantastic to have Sean in the championship. Very fast, underrated driver.
Yeah, and
doesn't always have the most luck in races, but hopefully that could change. Ooh, Curry very deep there on the brakes. I thought Bennett was going to have a little run around the outside, but thought better of it. But now I think Bennett's more figured about keeping Sean behind.
Yeah, Sean King definitely having a great race so far. And yeah, I think at the Shell was helping there. John Curry, he took such a huge amount of curb on the inside. It was a slightly unusual line, really. Whether he got the car a bit sideways on the brakes, I'm not sure. But again, this is just allowing Kelly just to pull out a car length or two. But yeah, we've very much got a front four now. Bit of a gap back to Ben Bennyworth, who's in 5th place. And then Ben Brown and Colin Talbot still having that battle you can see in the corner of your screen, battling over 6th position. And you can see actually Ben Brown going through at the Shell Oils hairpin there. So yeah.
Fantastic move. They're keeping each other lots of space going into the next chicane. Will Ben just outbrake him on the entry to the chicane? Hopefully Colin leaves him the space. Oh, perfect move. Well drove by both drivers. Colin looking to get the cut back, but Ben's corner was just way too quick. He just had that corner nailed. Again, back to the top 4 now that battle for now has come to an end.
So they're all being quite careful with that exit of Old Hall Corner. You can see nobody running too wide on that lap. And we've still got the same order, so it's still Kelly from Curry and then Bennett in 3rd. Sean King just in 4th place there, hanging on. Curry's having a look now at Kelly.
Colin looking at the outside of, I think that's the final corner there, through Lodge Corner, down, dipping down. Is he going to have a look through Old Hall? It'll be risky if he does, but he had such a good run through that last corner that I almost feel that it'll be wasting if he doesn't. There we go, there's the bomb, letting Ben know he's there. Ben way too wise for that move.
Ben left him a little bit of space just in case he was going to be there, but it looked like, yeah, Ben had always got that covered. I think it was not quite on that move, but yeah, great racing down the over 6th position there.
Yeah, and Colin's pace has really come alive today, which is fantastic to see. But looking again at the leading trio, always looking like they're going to change positions. But for now, keeping it quite processional. The race in itself, though, has been absolutely fantastic and really clean so far, which has been great to see.
And we're only on lap 7 of 16, so we're not even at half distance yet. So, and these drivers have been absolutely together, really, from the very first lap.
Bennett's got a great run from the final corner there. He might just bully his way past here. He's had to back out of it a little bit.
I feel like Bennett has got a bit more pace if he could get through. That he probably is going to be the fastest driver out there at the moment anyway. But John Curry now is having a real look on Kelly as they head down Cascades again. He's gone a bit wide. Contact with Bennett. He's running to the back of Curry slightly there. And that's allowed Sean King, who's now having a look at Bennett as they head down through Island Bend. Sean King's got the inside for Island, but he's going to be on the outside for the hairpin. And that means Bennett can maintain the position at the hairpin, but yeah, it's a little bit of nudging and pushing.
Good run though, I think there. Sean's going to get a great run going.
Yep.
Although he's backed out of it a little bit, to be fair. I thought he had a better exit for that corner, but clearly I was wrong. Or he backed out of it, worrying about contact. But Great racing again. A little bit of nudging between Bennett and Curry there. Hopefully they'll keep it on the circuit. But it's good to see. It's exciting.
Yeah, it looked a bit like Curry got a bit sideways going down Cascades, and Bennett, as a result, just nudged into the back of him slightly, but it was more because Curry had slowed down than anything. And that just allowed Sean King to get alongside Bennett as they went down through Ireland. But yeah, just a little bit of contact here and there, but nothing out of order. And the order remains the same front four. As we get to half race distance, you can just see in the background there Ben Bennyworth in the red car, sort of a bit more distant behind, but he's up 2 places from his
I feel like he's got closer.
Qualifying.
I feel like he's getting closer to this group. Like, his car's looking bigger in these shots now.
Yes.
So I think these guys all battling each other. They're probably compromising each other's pace just a bit.
Yes.
Kelly, I believe, is controlling the pace. I don't think Kelly is driving to the extent of his full pace. I think he's just fully looking after the tyres for the end of the race. But it is a risky strategy. He's putting a lot of faith into his own defensive driving. Personally, for myself, I prefer to just try and drive away from the cars behind. There's only so long that you can handle the amount of pressure that's being dealt here.
Yeah.
So some fantastic, mature driving from Kelly.
Well, if he can do it, it'll be very impressive. Yeah, I mean, I would have thought most drivers would like to try and build a bit of a gap, and then they would back themselves to, although they might be slower at the end of the race, to have enough of a gap and maybe to do a little bit of defending right at the end to get the win. But if Kelly is deciding to try and run very much his own pace from the start, then that would be, quite an impressive tactic. And we will see if he can pull that off. And we'll ask him afterwards anyway. We'll find out if that was his tactic. He might just be going flat out.
Yes, we could be totally wrong, but there's some extremely quick drivers in this championship, and they're all extremely equal. The qualifying times are very close, as we see Michael Boulding going off through Cascades, I think that is. It's an odd place to go off in a Clio. He must have lifted off the throttle a little bit too early, maybe felt that lift-off oversteer and just couldn't catch it in time. It is a narrow circuit here. Yeah, he definitely got sideways going down the hill, whether he outbraked himself or got out the throttle or something, and because he had a snap of oversteer, and that's what ultimately put him onto the grass at the exit of the corner. Which has now put Sibbald into 10th place in front of him. Their pace extremely similar at the moment. In fact, I think Pervez has just gone off as well, because Sibbald's just jumped in front of him on track. Yeah, and we've got Scott Thompson, actually, is doing very good lap times, or has got quite good pace, although he's currently down in 14th place. So some recovery drives going on further down the field. And certainly Sibbald up into 9th place now. So considering where he was at one point, and there's still 6 laps to go, he'll probably be feeling a bit more positive about things. Back at the front, we've still got the same order. Kelly from Curry, from Bennett and King. Bennyworth a little bit further back, but possibly getting closer. Depends, are these guys going to hold each other up anymore? They've all sort of spread out. They've just got a couple of car lengths between each of them at the moment. So I definitely have to feel that this is really going to... The drivers are really going to start maximising their pace and really pushing hard towards the end of the race, I think. And Sean King there in a great position still, just watching these 3 in front of him. He's very much with this group. I think if I was Sean right now, I'd just try and stay in the rhythm. Just keep on following for now. There's a lot that could still happen in this race. You know, we've still got about 5 laps to go. The top 3 could all concertina up again. And as we look at the top 2, actually, they're getting very close together again. Also in the bottom right of your screen, you've got Boulding all over the back of Pervez. Be interested to see if that comes to fruition. But yeah, I think Sean's in a really good position at the moment. If he's looking after his tyres better than these top 3, in the final few laps of the race, he could be a major force to be reckoned with. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we are definitely going to find out. As you can see, Bennett sort of positioning on the outside of Curry as they go into the Shell Oils corner there. So still having a little bit of a look now and again, but it looks to me like it's a little bit tricky to overtake in these cars around this circuit. It doesn't seem to be any... We've seen some good moves. I think we're going to see Boulding up the inside of Pervez. No, Pervez shuts the door going into Cascades in the bottom right of your picture. I think what some of it is down to is the worry of picking up a 10-second penalty for messing up an overtake. It's because we've seen before with Bennett that he'll give some very on-the-limit overtakes, and they're always fantastic. but if he messes them up in any way, that will cause a major crash. Thompson's just set the fastest lap of the race down in last place, so I wonder if he's pit for fresh tyres. Yes, he's been in the pits once, so I've got a feeling he's put some fresh rubber on.
I wasn't sure whether he was one of the guys who got a penalty earlier on, but that dropped him right down.
Yeah, I didn't see him get a penalty earlier on. No. We could have missed that, but he's all of a sudden just dropped right down and then set the fastest lap of the race. So it's interesting there.
Bit of practice race 2 perhaps there from Scott Thompson. He's thinking just get my head around this circuit, smash out some good lap times, and then be ready for the next one. So down Cascades again, Bennett again very close to the back of Curry. Seeing if he can get a good exit out of here. Curry quite wide, uses a lot of curb out of Cascades. I notice he's done that pretty much most laps, seems to be his line. Through now down to the Shell Oils corner. Still Kelly there, holding just that little bit of a gap to John Curry. Sean King just sitting there behind Bennett, watching, waiting to see what's going to happen here. And then in the corner of the screen you've got Ryan Purves, who's fending off Michael Baldwin quite successfully so far. And still, if anything, managing to pull a slight gap. So Michael Baldwin's had a bit of an up and down race. He's sort of made a great start, I think. And then dropped back down. We saw him make that little mistake later on. So he's had a bit of an up and down one so far. Here's Curry we're looking at, coming through Druid's corner on lap 12 of 16. So we're coming to the crunch point now. And these drivers will really be thinking if they want to try and win this race, now is going to be the time, I think, to really start piling on some pace. Curry very wide out of Old Hall corner there. Sorry, Lodge corner. Up Deer Leap now. Didn't seem to cost him too much time, though. He ran quite wide, so into Old Hall corner again.
Yeah, I was very surprised to not see Luke take full advantage of that, but he must have had a slightly bad final sector of that lap, because he has dropped back a bit from Curry after lapping much faster in the earlier laps. I do wonder if he has killed his tyres, although saying that, his exit through Cascades, and he's right on the back of Curry again. Also in the bottom right of the screen, we've got Cook looking around the outside of Talbot. Doesn't go for it, just making Talbot know that he's there. That's for 7th position overall.
Yeah, so another one of our drivers making their debut in the series, Dan Cook. He's gone quite well. He's in 8th place, and he's right on the back of one of our regulars, Colin Talbot. So, yeah, quite a good opening race for him. It just shows that with this championship, you can come in as a relatively inexperienced driver. Not that much experience in this championship and be fairly competitive quite early on. So yeah, it looks to me like Kelly's just pulled a few car lengths on John Curry, who seems to be struggling with the pace. Bennett's going to have a look up into the up into Druid's corner.
I do wonder now if Bennett has fully run out of patience. Curry is always very heavy on his tyre wear. I wonder now if those tyres are gone. Bennett and King, I think, are going to have to pass him as soon as possible, or they can kiss this race victory goodbye. Kelly is gone at the moment, so still 2 laps to go. Lots could still happen. If I was Luke, though, I would be fully thinking we're going to have to go for a move now. We've held back for long enough. If you look at John's driving style, he's always extremely aggressive on the wheel. When he turns in, he always puts in a lot of extra angle into the wheel. In these Clios, that kills the tyres so much. And you see how much curb he uses every lap, and pretty much every corner he's running onto the curbs, which can't be good for the tyre life either. No. And up the inside for King into Island, and I thought he was going to outbrake himself. He doesn't make the move stick. Bennett's just got him covered, but he's got a great run going into the next chicane. Will we be able to do it on the outside? I think he'll have to back out of it. If he pulls this off, that'll be an awesome move. Yeah,
Sean King really aggressive into Shell Oils. He's trying to go on the outside, but he's on the grass, and I think that might be him done for now. But yeah, he had a real go into the hairpin, obviously trying to make something happen because he's been sat there for such a long time, but that has probably cost Bennett a bit, and he has dropped quite a way back from John Curry. And all of this, of course, allowing Kelly to just keep extending his lead out front.
Kelly probably looked in his mirrors, saw those two side by side, and I guarantee a little wry smile appeared on his face, fully played into his hands. We're coming up to the final lap now. and he's got quite a nice lead. Well, we're getting close to the final lap, sorry. Still in your bottom right corner of the screen, you've got Cook all over Talbot, looking for any way past that he can. Moving to the right, moving to the left, really trying to trick Colin, dummying him, trying it round the outside, going into Lodge. He's got a great run on the exit there. Is Colin going to give him the space at the inside? He's moving across a little bit, so he's moving to the outside, is Cook. That'll be a brave move around the outside of Old Hall. I don't think he'll be able to get past by that, but it might give him a good run into Cascades if he's feeling brave. Yeah, great driving by Cook. He's doing everything he can, but Talbot is staying firm. He's just driving his own lines and just refusing to be distracted or put off at the moment. So let's see if he can hold that. We've got them here on the main screen now, as the front group have sort of spread out just a little bit. We'll keep an eye on them in the corner of your screen. So main screen now, Colin Talbot just in front of Dan Cook up to the Shell Oils corner. Talbot doing some great defensive work so far. And then Colin is one of the hardest people to overtake. He really is. He's tough, but he's fair. But he's definitely one of the more difficult ones. You really have to dummy him into a move. You have to fully trick him to get past him. I always enjoy going side by side with Colin, though. It's always great fun because he just finds a way to keep the car in front, which is amazing. Even if he runs a little wide through the corner, he'll still keep the car in front. It's great talent. Yeah, and here we are. Cook is very close on this lap as they head through Druids Corner. And they're heading now down to the final corner of the track. Colin taking the inside line for Lodge Corner very early to prevent Cook from getting up the inside. Cook's going to try and go around the outside. Can he hold it out there? It's very difficult. He's got a bit of space. There's a bit of overlap. No, he needs to keep the car. Contact. Oh, that's a shame. They keep going, though. They keep going side by side. I think Collins conceded the position there. I think he realised he squeezed him just a little bit too much. Yep. I was going to say Cook just has to keep the car there, but then Cook concedes the position. Interesting. So we're on the last lap now, and this battle is raging for 7th position. But at the front, Christian Kelly has driven a masterful race, really, from lights to flag. He got a tremendous start, and then he hasn't been passed. He's led the entire way. He seems to have run a good pace, and with the guys battling behind him slightly, he's just allowed him to ease away, and now he's got a nice, tidy lead over John Curry as they head to the last half lap. We'll just stick with this battle for now. We'll keep an eye on Kelly in the bottom right corner of the screen, just because this is the closest battle on the track. Yep. And yes, while Christian Kelly has driven a mature, fantastic drive, there's some racing going on behind him, so let's keep watching that. So yeah, Cook is just dropped off the back very slightly of Colin, but he's still very much there as they head up the hill. Up Clay Hill for the final time, heading now down to Druids Corner, where he had a bit of a go last time on the last lap. So Kelly takes the win. Christian Kelly has crossed the line to win. John Curry second, Luke Bennett third, and Sean King has finished fourth. But here goes Dan Cook. He's having a real look into the final corner. He's trying the outside again like he did previous lap. It's do or die. Colin's going to have to leave him some more space this time, I feel. He is squeezing him a little bit, but Cook just needs to keep the car there and he'll have a great run across the line. I think he's just going to get it. Yes, just across the line, a nose in front. Fantastic finish to the race. Great racing there from Cook and Talbot. Yeah, Cook has pipped him absolutely on the line. So yeah, really brilliant, close, tense racing here. But a great win there for Christian Kelly. Kept his head. We'll ask him after the race if he was driving to a certain pace. But he's won it from John Curry, Luke Bennett third. Sean King, an excellent fourth. Ben Brown actually ended up in 5th place. So quite a good result for him. Bennyworth finished 6th. Cook, as we saw at the end there, just beating Talbot to 7th place. Boulding finished 9th. Sibbald recovered to 10th in the end, but probably not the result he would have wanted for his championship. And Rob Soughton was 11th. Cleaver 12th. Purvez 13th. And Scott Thompson making his debut there, we can see on screen, was very quick, but actually ended up 14th. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in race 2. So I think we'll take a short break and then we'll try and get an interview with the top 3 drivers.
Right, so we're going to try and get a word with our top 3 drivers. I think they're hanging around outside the commentary box at the moment. Grant's going to go and round them up. So here we have our race winner, Christian Kelly. So, Christian, you got a fantastic start and you led the whole race. We were speculating in commentary that you were driving as fast as you needed to look after your tyres, or were you going flat out?
How much do I give away here? I was driving at a pace I was comfortable with, and I think that yielded results at the end when you saw John drop back. So it was just a case of just keep it on the black stuff. I know that tyres can be destroyed here very, very easily, and it worked out. So I'm very happy. Yeah,
so you got a fantastic start. Your launch off the line particularly was much better than everybody else's. Is there any secret to that, or was it just you just nailed it?
Just nailed it. Just nailed it. Just a bit of luck, you know. And sometimes those starts you can bog down quite easily. So absolutely happy with the start. Got out in front, and then was hoping for a battle behind me to take the pressure off me. But I had 13 laps of nail biting, tyre wear, watching, entertainment. So hopefully it looked good on the stream as well.
Yeah, it was close the whole race through, and it was one of those races where it looked like it was going to kick off at some point, but it never really did. Everyone seemed to be just unable to actually make a move on anyone else. But certainly towards the end, it looked like you just got that little bit more left in your tyres. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think John Curry was struggling a little bit.
That's what it comes down to. And regarding the moves, you know, John was a pragmatic human being in that race. He didn't lunge. He just did exactly the right thing, which was try to wait for a mistake. There's nowhere to pass on that circuit. He was faster than me coming up to the zones you can't overtake. So thanks to everyone for the clean racing up front. I don't know what happened, but I saw a couple of penalties.
Yeah,
so
just
the
a couple.
race director slapping down the law does help. So by saying you're going to get a harsh penalty, you know, that certainly helps with the cleanliness.
Yeah, there was a couple of penalties given out sort of further back down the field. So you must be fairly confident about race 2 then? It looks like you've got good pace.
I'm starting 5th, so I'm not actually. If I can get a good start and jump a couple of cars, brilliant. But I just missed time my last run. I was 4 tenths up, and the screen goes blank, and you're like, no. So, I'm looking forward. It's going to be a good one.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that, and we might be speaking to you after that one.
I hope
just
so.
Before you go, I'd love to know, when Sean and Bennett were side by side going into the hairpin, and you saw that they were battling each other really hard, was there a little wry smile on your face as that gap started to really increase?
Was there a wry smile? Look, at the end of the day, I know that I have pace, but with tyre wear and management, you have to think about how you're using it. And in the last race, I tried to back up somewhat, and I enjoy seeing the guys battle behind me, of course, because it means that you're able to just scamper away that half a second. So did it bring a wry smile? I was concentrating too hard. In retrospect, you're talking to me now, yes, a slight wry smile.
Great, okay. Well, we'll look forward to hopefully speaking to you after race 2.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
So, we're going to bring in our second place driver, John Curry, for a quick chat with him. And I think here he is, come to join us. So, good result for you there, John.
Indeed, very good.
And one of those races, we were just saying that it looked like it was going to kick off at some point, but it never quite did. It looked like maybe everybody was worried about their tyres a little bit. How was it for you?
Yeah, I think Christian was definitely doing a better job at tyre conservation than me in the early laps, because I realised that his pace was relatively modest. But the problem was I was always faster than him in the first couple of corners, but I was getting runs on him, certainly out of Old Hull, going down into Cascades. But it's very, very, very sketchy going into that corner, and it's high risk to try to overtake there. And then I kept getting a run down the back straight into the hairpin, but he'd always, it's quite an easy corner to defend. I did try to switch back once, and it didn't really work.
I suppose you were in a tricky position in that you were like in a sandwich. You'd got Luke Bennett, who we know how fast he is, behind you for the whole race. So I guess you were always having to balance that attack and defend throughout the whole race, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And once Luke dropped back, I think he might have had a run in with Sean. Once Lee dropped back, I thought, well, okay. By that point, Christian had gained about a second and a half on me, and I thought, well, let's push for a few corners, because by that point in the race, I was having to defend so much from Luke that Christian was getting away. And I thought I'd have a push for a few corners, but very quickly discovered that my tyres were not going to be enough to be able to catch Christian. So I just sort of settled second, brought it home.
Okay.
After my Frickson disaster, it was important to just get a decent result on the build. And
Yeah, and what about race 2 today? Where were you starting on the grid for race 2?
I'm on pole for this one.
Right, okay.
And, which will be good news. But my start for this one was pretty poor. Christian got a rocket start.
He did, yeah. We spoke to him about that. He just said he just nailed it. He just no secret. Just
when I saw Christian launch, I immediately started looking at my mirrors, thinking
he's gone.
I'm going to be swamped here.
Yeah.
Because I thought relative to him, my start was not so good.
Oh, right,
relative to everybody else, it was all right. So yeah, it could be a bit interesting into the first corner if he gets a run on me this time, because I think he's second for this one. No, I think
he's fifth actually. He's starting fifth in this one. So because he mistimed his qualifying lap, I think he was on a hot lap when the session ended. So yeah, you at least you won't have him. Well, unless he gets an amazing start, you shouldn't have him too close behind you at the start.
Indeed. So hopefully he can keep the lead into the first corner and then just sort of run. I've been trying very hard because this season in SRBC, my tyre life has been my biggest weakness, and I've been running out of tyres almost every race. So I did a fair bit of work last night, just trying to work on adapting my driving to look after the tyres a bit more. And I don't think it worked too badly in that race.
Okay.
Certainly, I had a similar sort of life to Luke, and we know how fast he is. So yeah.
All right.
We'll see what the next race brings.
We'll look forward to speaking to you afterwards.
Cool.
All being well.
Cheers.
Thanks, John. Cheers. And we'll now bring in Luke Bennett, championship leader. See what he's got to say about that race 1. Here he is.
Thank you.
So Luke, still our championship leader. That race looked a little bit. It was one of those races looked like it could really spark into life, but never quite happened. And it was always a bit like everyone was pushing as hard as they needed to, but was maybe worried about their tyres a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, because I was battling for basically the whole. My tyres was absolutely completely messed up at the end.
Yeah.
It was down to about 20% from all the battling with John. And then Wilson, I think it was, sent a dive up the inside. From
Sean King, who's standing in for Chris Wilson.
Was it him? Yeah. Okay. So he sent a dive up the inside, which made a gap between me and the second place.
Yeah.
So then, and that was not near the end of the race.
Yes.
And I found it quite difficult just to catch up to John. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was really the only move that the front 4 sort of pulled was Sean King's attempt to pass you right near the end. The rest of the time, it always looked like there might be something about to happen, but no one ever quite pulled it off.
Yeah.
What about race 2? Are you looking forward to that? Where are you starting on the grid for race 2?
I'm starting 4th. I'm aiming to get a bit of a better start because all my starts seem to be absolutely terrible.
Right, okay.
So that's just my goal for race 2. Hopefully get on the podium.
Okay. Well, best of luck.
Thank
You
you.
still got the championship lead. And, we're really looking forward to an exciting race 2.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, we'll take a short break now. And then we will be back with you for race 2. Okay, so we are now drivers on their warm-up lap for race 2 of the day in the Clios. So a slightly different grid order to race 1 because we have 2 qualifying sessions at the beginning of the day to set the grids for these 2 Clio races. So with this one, we've got John Curry starting in pole position. So it'll be very interesting to see how he gets on with looking after his tyres and trying to maintain that position out front. Sean King, who had an excellent race 1, is going to start from 2nd position in race 2. So again, another driver who's having a great day so far, clearly got a lot of pace. So he's there, you can see in the white, blue and grey car, standing in for Chris Wilson for this round. And then we've got Ben Bennyworth in the bright red car there. He's going to start 3rd in this race. Great qualifying for him. With Luke Bennett, our championship leader there in the black and yellow, starting 4th. Our race winner from race 1, Christian Kelly, will start in 5th place. And then Scott Thompson, who's also shown some real pace, making his debut in the series there in the black and red car with the red wheels, red bonnet. He will be starting 6th place. Ed Sibbald is going to start 7th after a difficult race 1 for him. He'll be looking to try and get some more championship points in his chase for the overall championship this year. He'll be 7th. Michael Balding is going to start in 8th position. Dan Cook, making his debut in the series, will be 9th. Ben Brown, a little bit further back this time, will start 10th. Richard Cleaver, 11th. Colin Talbot, who was just beaten to the line in race 1 by Dan Cook, will be 12th in this one, so he's got a bit of battling through the pack to do. Rob Soughton will be 13th, and Ryan Purves will start 14th in the bright green car at the back there. So, very interesting just to have a different grid, a slightly different dynamic for this one. People like Bennyworth up there, Sean King on the front row, Curry with his known sort of tyre issues that he's been struggling with this season on pole. So I do get the feeling this one could be very interesting with the likes of Bennett and Kelly a little bit further back in the pack, trying to force their way through. So drivers all just lining up on the grid now, and they will be waiting for the lights and for the sounds to indicate that they can go racing for race 2. We can see on board with Kelly in the corner of your screen there after he got a tremendous start in race 1. So it'd be very interesting to ride on board with him. And they're away, and another tremendous start, it looks like, by Kelly. He's got right round the Bennyworth already, and Curry is just about holding the lead. Bennett has also made a tremendous start, and there's Sean King in there as well. And Bennett's going around the outside, he's trying to take the lead. There's contact between him and Curry. They're both off. Bennett has been spun round, and it looks like Kelly has come through and got into the lead.
Yeah, and Sean King was involved in that as well. He's dropped right down the order, but a perfect start for Kelly again. And he just placed the car perfectly through turn 1. He avoided all the drama. And now we've got Thompson up the inside of Curry into Island Bend. Great move, little bit of argy-bargy, but I think that's perfectly acceptable.
That was a firm but fair move in my eyes. And yes, great move by Scott Thompson into 3rd place. Now he's just behind Ben Bennyworth, who's running 2nd. But yeah, that start really, I mean, I don't know, we'll have to have another look at what happened between Luke Bennett and John Curry there. There was definitely a bit of contact, and Sean King, yeah, unfortunately got caught up in that as well. But as a result, yes, Christian Kelly has come through again from 5th on the grid with a tremendous start. He's avoided all the chaos, and he's got himself into the lead once again. So he's in a dream situation as he attempts to win the double here today. Bennyworth also going very well. We've got John Curry now, recovering. He's there in 4th place. He's just behind Scott Thompson. Scott making his debut in the series this weekend in the black and red Clio there with the red wheels. Michael Balding there is 5th. And here's the start again. So Curry and Bennett make contact. Bennett goes sideways. And then they're just all over the place, really trying to regain control. Bennett spins again on the grass into the pack. And he actually takes out Ben Brown there. And also Dan Cook gets caught up in it. So it was really one of those incidents where Bennett was just a passenger after he was on the grass, and he couldn't avoid spinning right through the pack. So several drivers really damaged their races there through no fault of their own. Bennett is currently down in 11th. You can see him in the corner of your screen just coming past Cook there. Taking 11th position into the Shell Oils corner. We've got Curry in our main screen all over the back of Thompson.
It'll be really interesting to see the race director's take on that lap 1 incident. A lot of drivers at the back, for no fault of their own, having their races destroyed going into turn 1. So it's a hard one to call, really, but he'll have more angles than we do. But potentially a penalty coming Curry's way, maybe even Bennett's way. But I do feel that Luke was entitled to a little bit more space than that.
It was an unfortunate incident because they only made slight contact, really. And it was just the aftermath, really, I think, of Bennett being a bit out of control. And here goes Curry up the inside on Thompson into the final corner.
Clean move, but Thompson will have a great cutback. I'd also like to apologise very quickly to Andy Molpass. It wasn't you that got the penalty in race 1, it was Scott Thompson. You're not here, it's just your name's on the window, so apologies for that. But your debutant driver is doing a fantastic job for you in this race.
He is, yeah. Thompson's having a great debut. He's really fighting hard with John Curry here as they head down Cascades on lap 3. So still a long way to go in this race. It'll be interesting to see how some of these drivers can recover. Boulding there in the purple car is there in 5th, and Sean King is up into 6th place after being delayed quite severely on that first lap incident. So they're all...
I think with King it looked worse than it was, really, because he ran onto the grass, but he managed to keep the momentum. And because the way that Luke rejoined onto the pack backwards, a lot of the cars behind him had to slam on the anchors or take avoiding action, which has kind of minimised the damage to King's race, although his tyres will not be happy at all.
No, he will have to struggle with that slight disadvantage, but yeah, he'll definitely, we've seen how much pace he's got here, so I'm sure he'll be backing himself to try and get through this pack and try and get on the podium in this one. But meanwhile, out front, Christian Kelly has got a bit of a lead, and he's done a very quick lap of 1:33.3 to set the fastest lap of the race so far. All out on his own, really, with a bit of a gap back to Ben Bennyworth in the bright red car there, running second. Then we've got John Curry, then Scott Thompson, then Balding, King, Ed Sibbald in 7th, Colin Talbot running 8th, Cleaver 9th, and Soughton completes the top 10.
So Luke Bennett's comeback right underway. He's all over the back of Rob Sultan, up the inside, going down the start-finish straight, and he's got the move done before the corner. That's how good his exit was. So that puts him up into a 10th place, so back into the top 10 with a 1:32.671. Quick times, not the fastest we've seen, but I think he's overtook 2 cars in that lap. So great comeback so far. We'll keep an eye on him to see how far up he gets.
He's making it look easy so far, but yeah, it was the first time we've really seen Luke Bennett have to do a recovery drive that I can recall.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see. We know he's great at overtaking. Yes, they're very on the edge, so it'll be great to see some of this midfield action. I'm looking forward to him coming up to the back of Talbot. I think that'll be phenomenal. Now, Curry not really pulling away from Thompson, despite pace-wise, Curry's set a much faster lap of 1:32.7 compared to Thompson's 33.1. But I kind of get the feeling that Curry is, again, trying to look after his tyres this time. I think in race 1, he's killed his tyres so much. Even though he came P2, he was lucky to come P2 because of the action going on behind him. So perhaps he's just saving those tyres a little bit more now. He knows he's faster than Bennyworth, and I think as the race goes on, we will see him move past Bennyworth.
I think he's definitely looking now. He's broken away from Thompson just a little bit, and he's closed up onto the back of Bennyworth. So I think he is going to be thinking maybe I can try and get past Bennyworth and then get into a bit of space and think about whether I can go for the lead, depending on how far Kelly has got up the road by the time he makes that move. Thompson very wide out of Old Hall Corner there, all over the curb on the outside. So he seems to be dropping back just a little bit in 4th place. So he's got Sean King not far behind him, and then Balding and Sibbald. As you can see in the corner of your screen there, Balding in the purple, predominantly purple Clio, just in front of Sibbald in the turquoise, black and the purple car just behind him. So King has made a slight mistake.
Wide?
I think, yes, Thompson's gone wide, and he's allowed Sean King a bit of an overlap as they head out of Shell Oils. They're heading down to Hislops. Thompson's just about managed to hold it, though. There's Balding, there's Sibbald. Now they're going up Clay Hill, and it looks like Thompson has managed to regroup after that slight mistake. He kept Sean King behind him, Here we are in the main screen. That's Thompson standing in for Malpass in the red and black Clio, just in front of Sean King, who's standing in for Chris Wilson in the Cam Sport Ice car behind him. A lot of tyre smoke there. Sean pushing very hard. And just behind them, Boulding and then Sibbald. So Thompson, yeah, made a bit of a mistake, but it looks like he's regrouped. But King definitely looking very fast. We know he's done very good lap times around this circuit, and he did, of course, qualify on the front row. So there's no doubting that Sean King's got pace around this Oulton Park circuit. Just be able to see whether he can find his way through. A little bit of a gap up till John Curry there in third place. Is broken away slightly from Thompson now.
Now King had a great exit there, out the exit of Old Hall. Hopefully he'll get a good run through Cascades and we'll see some side-by-side action. Like, I really want to see things come together for Sean after that start. I'd love to see him back up in the top 3. It's kind of getting away from him now with the gaps pulling out, but he's looking up the inside. Thompson shuts the door very late there.
Thompson's gone wide, though.
He's gone very wide, but that was almost moving on the braking zone. I do wonder if the race director will slap down on that, because Mike
Here we go again.
can't stand that.
Maybe.
But as we're going into the chicane, King brakes a little bit later up the inside. Very well made. Thompson makes a tiny love tap on the back of the car, but great move, great driving.
Yeah, excellent pass by Sean King. He kept his head there, and he knew that he would. He's got a good run down into the chicane there, and he just kept it together, and was able to do the move as they went into Hislops. And now he's into that 4th place, and he'll be looking to see if he can catch Curry in front of him.
So Boulding just did a dive on Thompson and has completely compromised his exit, and now he has got Sibbald all over the side of him, going around the outside into the final corner.
Yeah,
Runs him wide. He's leaving him a lot of spaces, Michael. Some very fair driving there. And I think Sibbald's got the position, although Michael is up the inside for the first corner. Who's going to brake later? And Sibbald gets the place.
Yeah, Sibbald has just about got round the outside there, so he's got that move done. He's up into 6th place.
And that all started from Boulding just trying to dive up the inside of Thompson and having the door slammed fully shut in his face. I mean, it wasn't really going to be an overtake, but he just had to have a look, but fully compromising himself in the meantime.
Yeah, now we're watching Don Curry in your main screen, who is definitely closing the gap onto Bennyworth a little bit. And Bennyworth, similarly, is closed the gap slightly to Kelly, so it could be a case of Kelly just running his own race again, just going as fast as he needs to. He knows he's got a bit of a cushion at the moment, but the top 3 just gradually coming closer together. It's only on lap 7, so more than half the race still to go. Sean King is there in 4th, pushing very hard, see if he can get to this group. Luke Bennett, you can see in the corner of your screen, is now up to 9th position, so his next target will be Colin Talbot, who's 8th. Bit of a gap for him to go across, though, before he can get onto the back of Colin Talbot's car. And then we can see there Sibbald, who's now running 6th, just in front of Michael Boulding. So actually the front sort of 6 cars, almost the front 7 really, are not that far apart, even after nearly half the race gone. And we had some incidents early on. So still plenty of life left in this one. Here's Sean King. Scott Thompson is still very much there, though. He's not dropping back too far. He's just staying there very sideways into Old Hall corner there. A lot of curb on the exit for Thompson, and Sean King didn't get a great exit there.
I think Thompson might get a little slap on the wrist there, because he had all 4 wheels off the track and he's clearly gained time from it. It is about a second faster to do that, we saw in the first practice session.
Right.
So he might get a little warning there from race control to not use that advantage. If he overtakes from that advantage, that could be seen as leaving the track and gaining a position in a way.
Yeah, it was very noticeable how much speed he had down through Cascades compared to Sean King there, just because of that using so much more of the runoff on the exit of Old Hall corner. But it hasn't resulted in a pass. Sean King is still there, holding his own in 4th position. So just fending off Scott Thompson for the time being. At the front, you can see in the corner of your screen, that's Kelly. Still got a few car lengths cushion over Bennyworth, who's just in front of John Curry.
I think Kelly's controlling the pace again of the race. He knows he can lap faster than Bennyworth when he needs to, and I think the gap that he's got now is a gap that he is very comfortable with. He doesn't want to push too much, but he doesn't want to ease off too much either, because that's when the mistakes start to come in. But the gap he's got at the moment just leaves him a bit of leeway in case he runs a tiny bit wide through one of the corners.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen that Kelly's best lap is a 32.3. That's about 6/10 quicker than Benioff's best lap so far. So certainly it seems like Kelly has got a small pace advantage, on raw pace certainly, which he can maybe use if he needs to, but he's just controlling the pace, controlling his race, looking to get this double win. So Sean King there, look, he's still in 4th place. He's got a little bit of a gap now. He's got Thompson just chasing him. Thompson having a little braking very late for the Shell Oils corner there, trying to, but he's too far back to actually get a pass done. Sibbald is there in 6th place, just behind these two. He looks like he might be catching these two drivers actually. So Sibbald not having the best race day today so far for his championship hopes, but he's there in 6th place, and he'll be seeing how far up the field he can get. Thompson certainly using a lot of curb on the exit of all the chicanes, and we saw him use a huge amount of the runoff area at the exit of Old Hall corner on the last lap. So definitely race direction will be keeping an eye on that. He does use a lot of curb there, and he's definitely maintaining very good momentum around this back part of the circuit as they head down to Lodge corner on lap 9. He's definitely looking like he's got a lot of speed though, Thompson.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that Sean's a little bit disadvantaged by his tyres because of the lap 1 incident, which probably means that Scott's just got more grip at this time. He's sticking right to him, but I do think he needs to watch his track limits. He's pushing it right on the limit. There he just had 2 wheels on the white line, which is acceptable.
Yep.
But he really needs to be careful. I'm seeing a lot of very wide lines coming out of corners from him. But we'll see if this battle comes to fruition. I think Sean has a mature enough head to just stay calm, keep the car on track, doing laps. And in fact, if anything, that gap to Curry has really got smaller all of a sudden. I don't know if Curry's last lap was slow, but that gap has suddenly massively increased.
Yeah, so definitely Sean King much closer to the back of John Curry now. So whether Curry's made a small mistake somewhere, we didn't see anything, but definitely he's come back towards this group. So Sean King, I think, there's the podium. There you can see it in front of him. He just needs to pass John Curry, and then he will be on the podium for his second race. But he's got Scott Thompson very close in attendance. So he's very much got to keep one eye on defending whilst trying to attack at the same time. Luke Bennett, you can see in the corner of the screen, seems to have... He's still making... he's still doing good lap times, but he's having to go across quite a big gap between Cleaver and Colin Talbot. So for the time being, he's just trying to close that gap down to Talbot. He's got 6 laps to do it, so it'd be interesting to see how far up the field he can get. So here we go down to the first corner. John Curry, Sean King is there.
Sets the fastest lap, is that? 1:32.305. Very good lap, and maybe that's why the gap's come down, because he's really left Thompson for dust now, and he's all over the back of Curry. Curry's best time at 1:32.3, so very close in terms of pace between these two. But I think Curry's last few laps are much slower. Sean's looking left, right, and all over the back of the car. Is he going to go for a cutback and think of a move into the chicane? He's a little far behind, but John's exit was awful there. I think he was anticipating an overtake. He went very defensive.
Yeah, and Sean driving a great line through Shell Oil's corner. And I think the combination of those two meant...
A little nudge going in there. I think Sean was a tiny bit later on the brakes, and John, it's unsettled both of them a little bit, but some great driving to keep it on the island itself. But yeah, I think John was just really anticipating a dive bomb there that was never going to happen. No,
I think Sean was very much just keeping his powder dry at that point and just concentrating on driving the best line he could through the corner, and it gave him a good exit.
Coming up to traffic as well, that's Pervez there in front of them.
In the green car,
This is going to be interesting. Will Sean use this to his advantage?
Yeah, so that is Ryan Pervez in the bright green car there that Curry's going to be coming up to lap. Let's see if he can get through cleanly, or will this allow Sean King an opportunity to get a move?
Probably the best part of the circuit for Pervez to let them through, but they're not close enough now. John's exit to that final corner. He's dropped back from the back of Pervez in last place. That's really interesting to see. That probably gives you an insight onto the state of his tyres at the moment. And Sean so much faster as Pervez loses it right in front of them. I hope he's gone off out of the way. He has, but that's put John Curry off a little bit there. I think that's distracted him. We've got Sean looking for the outside line. Is John going to go ultra defensive again and compromise his line?
King's going to have a look ahead and look how close Thompson is.
We've got Thompson as well, getting attacked all over by Sibbald. So Sibbald all of a sudden coming to play too.
So these 4 drivers, now absolutely together. Thompson and Sibbald have caught them as a result of them being held up a little bit by the back marker incident. So it's now Curry, King, Thompson and Sibbald all absolutely together as they head now up Clay Hill, up to Druids, lap 12. So it definitely looks like to me Curry is struggling a bit with his tyres possibly already, because his exits from the corners seem quite slow in comparison to Sean King. So I think King will be fancying his chances of being able to get alongside somewhere and try and get a pass done. He wants to do it soon. Sibbald is attacking Thompson in the background there, you can see. He's trying to look on the inside.
Thompson very aggressive in the braking zone there. Again, moving on the braking. It's on the limit. I know the race director doesn't like those sorts of moves. It's all of a sudden become a very popular thing now that Verstappen does it a lot in Formula 1. I'm not a big fan of it personally, as Kelly says the fastest lap of the race, just to show everyone how much pace he's got.
He is controlling his pace, he's on lap 13, just set, or is it lap 12, he set the fastest lap. They're on the grass.
Sibbald. They're both on the grass, they're both back on again, but fully compromising Sibbald's line into Cascades. He's going to drop right back. I'm surprised Thompson didn't lose more time there. Yeah,
it's definitely that could have gone badly wrong. But it's costing Thompson and it's costing Sibbald. They've dropped right back, you can see, from Curry and King, who are still battling away over this 3rd position.
Oh, another nudge through the hairpin there as well. These guys might need to watch the contact.
Yeah, it's very hard racing in this Clio Championship. And it's quite tricky to pass, really, I think, on this Oulton Park circuit. It's not... there's a few places where you can do it, but it's got to be planned. And we're seeing, generally, we haven't seen that many great overtakes so far in these races. It's been more attempts rather than actual clean moves so far. So the real one we're looking at here is Curry and King, whether King can actually get past before the end of the race, get onto that podium. How much is Curry struggling with his tyres? Can he...
Look how much of the track Curry's using. Like, the lines of the exits of his corners, he's using so much of the racetrack that all he's going to be doing is scrubbing the tyres along the surface of the track, and he's overheating them by doing that. He's massively disadvantaging himself at the moment. He just needs to ease the pace off a little bit. I know that could risk Sean making a move, but in all honesty, I think if he keeps pushing like this, Sean's just going to drive past him. I think a few slow down laps just to get the tyres back into a good temperature, and he'll be right back on the pace.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably thinking he's got 3 laps to go, whether he can just hang on, but it's really going to be quite difficult. I think Sean King is really going to be attacking very hard on for these whole few laps. He's trying the outside.
Around the outside.
He's going to try and cut back, I think. He knows he can get a better exit. Look at the line Sean King takes there. It's a great line. Can he now go up the inside as they head down to the chicane? He switched back.
John putting his car in the middle of the road, which is the perfect position to stay in front. He's doing everything he needs to keep Sean behind, but Sean is a wily old fox, and I think we're going to see a little dummy move coming up here.
I think Sean clearly has identified that as a potential passing place coming out of the Shell Oil's corner and down into the chicane.
Definitely. If he can get alongside, so John has to leave him that space, he'll be through.
But John Curry will be aware. He's now... King's sort of shown his hand there. He's kind of demonstrated by that extravagant line through the Shell Oil's corner that is his plan, and now Curry knows about it. So he'll be defending that piece of track, I'd have thought, quite hard on the next lap. We can see that Bennett has got up into 8th position now.
Yeah, Thompson has dropped down to 9th, so maybe a mistake from him somewhere. But as we look at Sean just making a little move, going into turn 1, just trying to put John off. John takes a lot of grass on the inside, but then Sean runs all 4 tyres off the track. They need to watch those track limits.
Yeah, it looks like Sean's almost he knows he ran a bit wide that, and he's backed off a little bit because he didn't really gain much time down through Cascades.
He has, but he's running out of time in this race to get past.
Yeah. So, yes, lap 15, this lap and the next lap, and then that's it. So, again, this very wide line by Sean King through the Shell's corner, trying to get that, maximise his exit speed. Don't think he's going to be close enough this time as they head down to the chicane.
Left a little bit of space this time, though. There's definitely a gap, but Sean's exit wasn't great. John's really compromised on the traction on the exit of that corner. It's very odd to see every lap. He must have killed his rear tyres as well as the fronts.
And in the corner of your screen, you can see that Luke Bennett is getting ever closer to the back of Colin Talbot. He's running a little bit wide there, but he's definitely getting closer and closer. But is he going to run out of time? There's only one lap after this one.
I think he's going to run out of time, but this is a battle I've wanted to see all race. But right behind him, we've also got Thompson and Cleaver all over each other.
Yeah, Thompson, Cleaver, and then
that's the back
marker
of Pervez.
Yeah, Pervez is in the green car just behind. So Thompson's had a bit of an up and down race, really.
Some great battling from these two, though. Like, moving left, right, and centre, trying to distract Thompson. Thompson, again, so aggressive in the braking zone. And that's really compromised him there.
Very much covering that inside. He moved very late across to cover the inside when he saw that Cleaver was attempting that. And it did compromise his exit, and now Cleaver's got a run on him as they head down to the first corner.
Oh, he's right up the inside. He's got the position, surely. Great move. Thompson's going to try and run it around the outside, but he's just off the circuit. If he gets the position back from that, then I would say that's corner cutting, but he's conceded the position now.
Cleaver has got that 9th place for now. So here's our leader in your main picture, Christian Kelly. It looks like another masterclass from Kelly here. He made a fantastic start, kept out of trouble. From that point onwards, he was gone, really. I mean, he just looked after his tyres. He also set a tremendously fast lap on lap 13. He's never really looked troubled by Bennyworth, who's driven a great race himself to finish. Looks like he's going to finish second.
Extremely mature drive, again, from Kelly. Really coming onto another level of his sim racing. We're in the Simply Race Endurance Series, which was last Sunday. His pace was electric, is the only word to describe it. Bennyworth as well, got to give him a great shout out. He's not been in the Touring Car Championship for a long, long time. I think about 3 seasons ago was the last round he did. As Christian Kelly takes the win, and Ben Bennyworth second place after a phenomenal drive, great drive. And John Curry gets third, Sean in 4th. Michael Bolden, P5. Very good drive for Michael, up 3 places. But a little all over the line. They're really attacking. Colin, loving these last lap battles. And a shout out for Colin. He went up 5 positions in that race. So
he's the biggest,
can overtake.
Yeah, he's gained the most places out of anybody. So up to finish 7th.
I mean, Bennett obviously overtook more cars to get back to where he was. But yeah, great race from Colin Talbot. I think he'll be over the moon with that.
Yeah, I think he can be rightly pleased with his day today so far. And yeah, so Luke Bennett only recovering to 8th, so that's going to cost him a bit in the championship, especially as it seems to be that Kelly is emerging as a very strong rival for Bennett. Kelly winning both races today. That will have really done his championship the power of good. And he'll be delighted to see that Bennett has finished so far down, because it's going to be game on as we head towards the end of this championship. Bennyworth, very good drive in 2nd place, stayed out of trouble, and really maximised staying out of trouble at the start, getting in 2nd place, and then he drove a very consistent race from then on. So, as usual, we will try and get a word with the top 3 drivers after that race. We'll take a short break whilst we round them up. Okay, so we're back. We're going to have interviews with our top 3 drivers. So first of all, we've got Christian Kelly, who's won another race today. So we said at the start we were actually riding on board with you for the start, just to see, hoping it would be another good one, and it was. It was a tremendous start again. And then you managed to avoid the incident at turn 1, and from then on, you seemed to just control it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say really. It's a shame those two boys had an incident. It's never good. It's never good to see in front of you, but I took advantage of it and then just went from there. And you were on board, as we were just saying. And my
Yep.
start was good again.
Yeah, fantastic. And it looked like the
There we go. For everyone who didn't hear that, it was a good start, and I was lucky at the first corner. Yes, sorry. Carry on.
So you've obviously nailed the secret of making a great start. It looked like you had to go around the car in front of you, I think, because your start was so much better than the car in front of you.
Yeah.
But that put you on the inside for the first corner,
Yeah.
and that was the best place to be.
So before the start, I was staring at the car in front, thinking which way are you going to go, and I thought I'm picking right up against the wall, and then fortunately the gap remained, and so I slotted through. It was really good. It was another really good race.
And we noticed that you did your fastest lap and the fastest lap of the race on lap 13.
Yes.
So you obviously still had plenty of tyres towards the end.
Yeah, you've got to manage it. My experience in the first 4 races now, four races, is hold on to your tyres for goodness sake, manage the gap, and have a little bit of fun on 1 or 2 laps if you want to. But it was tough. It was still really tough race.
So it looks to me like you're emerging as a bit of a championship contender now. Luke Bennett didn't have a great result in that race. I think he finished down in 8th place. And a double win today means that you're going to be right up there for the championship.
I know, I can't wait to see the table. I want to see where I'm at. I was 3rd, so we'll see where we are after this, and yeah, go from there, really.
Yeah, so looking forward to the next round.
Thank you very much. I am indeed. Take care.
See you there. Okay, that was Christian Kelly, and now we're going to bring in Ben Bennyworth, who finished in 2nd place in that race, making his debut in this championship. So, Ben, you've had a really good day today for your debut, I think.
Yeah, not bad. What was it, 6th in the first race? Even though I started 7th, so that was all right. And then, yeah, another podium in the second race. So, yeah, pretty good start for the first time out.
You managed to avoid the incident at the start, and then you were in 2nd place. And from then on, really, it looked like you just drove a very consistent race. You were never really threatened, particularly from behind.
Well, I mean, the thing was, I got a bad start on the grid, and then I think I dropped down to like 4th or something like that. And then obviously the incident happened up front, and then I was just fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, being on the inside to avoid it all, and and went back up the 2nd, and then pretty much stayed there.
Yeah,
from the whole that race.
Yeah, it looked like once you were there, you were able to just maintain a consistent pace and just really slightly lonely race, I suppose, in a way. You were kind of on your own a bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it was annoying because I could see that I was sort of gaining Christian in the first race, in the first part of it, and had about 4 or 5 cars behind me.
Yep.
And I was thinking, like, they're just going to overtake me. I'm going to get absolutely trampled or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what did it was the lap car. It sort of split me and Christian, so it kind of helped. Well, kind of helped me and Christian a little bit. So, but yeah, he started pulling away, and I just settled for 2nd, and that was it.
So you're planning to do more rounds in this championship for the rest of the season?
I haven't got anything else planned at the moment. I might do, depending on like if I'm not busy with other
But clearly you've demonstrated that you've got a good pace to be competitive at the front of the championship. So yeah, we'd like to see you again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, cheers, Ben. Thanks. Now we'll get a quick word with our 3rd place finisher, John Curry. So John, you did manage to hold on to that 3rd place. You were under quite a lot of pressure from Sean King for much of that race. But yeah, you must be pleased to maintain on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. The start again was not so good, and it's funny because you said beforehand, Christian's starting 5th, he won't be near you by the first corner, but unfortunately Luke made an absolutely brilliant start.
He did, yeah.
I knew it was going to be dicey because I knew he didn't have enough momentum to clear me into the first corner, so I knew we were going to be going side by side, so I tried sort of squeezing onto the curve and fanning the throttle a bit, and we just slightly touched, and I think we just about knocked each other straight again and sorted ourselves out.
Yeah, there wasn't much contact. It was just enough. And yeah, like you say, you kind of righted yourselves, but then actually Luke then was, I think, still a bit out of control. And he went onto the grass, and then he was really a bit of a passenger from there on.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like we'd sort of recovered ourselves, and then he'd gone, which I was sorry to say, because he's.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think it was Ben and Thompson ahead of me. I was in 4th place, and I was able to get Thompson quite quickly, and I thought I was starting to sort of set after Ben for P2, but then after 4 laps, with all the mess on the first lap, I was already down like 70% of my tyres. So 4 laps into the race, I knew I was going to have to really back it up a bit and just try to consolidate and keep what I had. And to begin with, it wasn't so bad because Thompson was doing a great job of holding everybody else up. And when I saw Sean had got through at about half distance, I thought, now I'm in trouble, because he was taking about half a second a lap out of me.
Yes, he was very quick at that point, and it looked like you were struggling a bit towards the end, but you always managed to just keep enough advantage to Sean never really had a great opportunity to get past you. He had a few little goes, but
yeah, that was it. I was just trying to make sure I hit my marks on each corner, and if you hit your marks, you can defend. It's a very difficult circuit to overtake if someone's not making mistakes, and you can defend into the main overtaking spots relatively easily. It's a difficult circuit to make a clean pass on, and I know Sean's sensible, and I was just sort of trying to keep it to the middle of the road most of the time, just to try to ensure that he had no ideas about sending it. I thought towards the end, on maybe the last lap, he'd have another go at me, because I think with 3 to go, that was his best run he had at me, going into the hairpin and back out the other side.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm pleased to get another podium. It was good to be able to look after the tyres and have enough at the end so that it wasn't just completely undrivable. I still had enough to be able to turn reasonable laps, and it sort of gets my championship challenge back on track a bit.
I think it still keeps you in the mix, and so we look forward to seeing you at the next round.
Indeed, and Touring Cars next, which is also going to be fun.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Cheers. Thank you, John. Right, so now I think we're going to go to the podium presentation for the Clio Cup Championship.
Okay, so ladies and gents, just going to do a quick presentation for our top 3 for the Clio Cup round. It was definitely an interesting first lap, and I'm sure everyone at home watching, and you guys probably replay it at some point. Yeah, you probably have a discussion about it. But just want to mention Sean King, just returning back to the round, misses out on the podium by 1 point. But taking the bottom step on the podium, third place, 27 points away today, and also just joining the round is Ben Bennyworth. Taking second place on the podium, 32 points scored, was John Curry. And then taking the top step on the podium, 2 race wins, and holding off John Curry, especially that for... Sorry? Okay, I'll shout out Camp Sport, Colin, for you. It's Christian Kelly. So just going to take a quick picture. Okay, so well done to our top 3 there. Thank you for watching back at home. We will be back in just over an hour's time for the touring car round. So thanks a lot, and let's on to the next round.